welcome. I'm Liao, and here's what happened this week. The U.S. Treasury is once again flagging concerns over how some of its top trade partners handle their currencies and trade practices, dropping a new report on Thursday. While Taiwan was not labeled a currency manipulator, it is once again on the list of countries at risk of being deemed one, just as it's trying to handle exchange rate spikes and a U.S. trade deal. Chris Gorin has more.
Taiwan is not being labeled a currency manipulator, at least not by the U.S. Treasury Department, which released a biannual report Thursday. But it's not off the hook either, being once again added to a monitoring list of countries that meet certain trade criteria. Those countries are China, Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, Singapore, Vietnam, and Germany, all of which have been on the list before, plus two newcomers, Ireland and Switzerland. Taiwan has been on the list continuously since 2022 for meeting 2 out of 3 red flag indicators. It runs a big trade surplus with the U.S. and has a high current account surplus. But the Treasury says Taiwan did not manipulate its currency through foreign exchange intervention. But the U.S. trade deficit is a major concern for the Trump administration, and Taiwan has the 5th largest bilateral trade surplus, meaning it sells more to the U.S. than it buys in return, while China maintains the largest surplus. While Taiwan has avoided the harshest possible label, there's not exactly a sigh of relief here. Being on the monitoring list means tariff threats still linger, and the country has yet to finalize a trade deal with the U.S. And exporters remain uneasy, especially after a recent spike in the Taiwan dollar's exchange rate.
其实我们的客户基本上都比较大，那其实都有一定的长年以来都有一定的路去怎么去做一些跟汇率有关的一些调整。所以对我们来讲，我们当然还是怕说，像前一阵子上个月出那种2天2、3块的哈。
That same company, Pegatron, an electronics manufacturer, is also planning to open a new factory in the U.S. to avoid potential tariffs. Taiwan's central bank responded this morning, saying the U.S. has not asked Taiwan to allow its currency to appreciate. But you can see how this combination of tariff and currency threats is keeping businesses on edge here. Luffy Li, John Su, and Chris Gorin in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
Amazon is betting big on Taiwan, planning to invest over $5 billion here. The online giant made the announcement as it launched its AWS Asia Pacific Taipei region on Thursday. Amazon says the investment is part of its long-term commitment to the country, supporting the construction, operation, and maintenance of its data centers here. Premier Zhou Rongtai says he hopes to combine Taiwan's technological strength with Amazon's capabilities to drive the development of the country's digital ecosystem and enhance its contribution to the global tech landscape. Every year, the Edison Awards honor worldwide excellence in innovation. This year, one of Taiwan's top research institutes won 7 awards, claiming nearly half of Taiwan's 18 total wins. Earlier this week, I went to a joint ceremony marking Taiwan's achievements. Taiwan doesn't just make the chips that go into cutting-edge technology, it's also proven itself to be an innovation heavyweight. The country's Industrial Technology Research Institute, or ITRI, is celebrating its 7 wins at this year's Edison Awards. The institute took home prizes for innovations in areas like environmental sustainability, energy management, and medical technology. One of those inventions is a low-carbon laser that makes it easier, more energy efficient, and more environmentally friendly to create H-beams commonly used in construction.
焊接的这个过程是这整个生产线上面最重要的一个 bottleneck 哈。我们现在如果改成是雷射焊接的话，产数是5倍。
One of the top-rated ITRI innovations at the Edison Awards this year is an underground leak detection system. It uses AI and sound waves to find leaks in underground plumbing systems. It's hailed as a game changer because traditional leak detection is a labor-intensive and highly specialized skill. And that's not to mention its role in saving scarce water resources.
我们全台湾其实这种专业的人力大概就是80几个。 他要检测全台那种6万多个管线自来水管就6万多管线，他要每年1巡其实2年1巡是最好的，可是他巡检不完，
E-Tree isn't the only Taiwan institution that's won at this year's Edison Awards. Institutes like National Taiwan University and the Taiwan Textile Research Institute also took home prizes as well, proving that Taiwan's not only behind the components that go into groundbreaking innovations, but it's also very much an innovator in and of itself. Patrick Sun and Leslie Liao in Taipei for TaiwanPlus. Hopes for a Japanese moon landing on Friday were dashed. Tokyo-based firm iSpace lost communication with its spacecraft, which likely crashed while making its descent. The firm was vying to make history with Asia's first commercial lunar landing, carrying Taiwan's first ever lunar device on board. Joyce Tseng has the latest from Tokyo.
A somber end to an ambitious lunar mission. Japan's iSpace says it has not been able to complete a moon landing. It's the firm's second attempt and comes just 2 years after its first go, which also ended with a loss in communication. iSpace CEO Takeshi Hakamada says as of 8 a.m. local time, 4 hours after the planned touchdown, the team determined that reconnecting with the lander was unlikely.
できており着陸ができておりませんので、その着陸に関してはですね失敗という、捉え方で問題ないかと思います。ご支援をいただいてきた方に対してですね非常に、申し訳ない気持ちもございますけども、やはりこの今までご支援をいただいてきたですね。
The unmanned lander, dubbed Resilience, was vying to become Asia's first commercial spacecraft to make it to the moon. So far, only 2 American firms, Intuitive Machines and Firefly Aerospace, have accomplished the feat. Earlier, over 500 people gathered here to watch Resilience's descent, including a team from Taiwan. Dr. Lauren Chang from National Central University and his students have a direct role in the mission as the makers of this device that's aboard the Japanese lander. It's a radiation probe and Taiwan's first ever lunar instrument. iSpace's flight data showed Resilience's altitude dropping suddenly, a few moments before the scheduled landing of 4:17 a.m. local time. The room falling into several minutes of silence as those gathered awaited confirmation. iSpace was later able to confirm that the measurement of Resilience's altitude was delayed, which meant its actual position was closer to the moon than the team thought. On top of that, the spacecraft was also traveling too fast.
ミッション1と同様かっていうところでいうと見られている現象としては違うものが見られています。ただ原因のところはこれからまだまだ探っていく必要がありますので、現時点ではその実際のこの同じ要因だったかとかっていうのは言及することはできないんですけれども、見えている現象としてはミッション1とは少し異なるような現象が見えております。
But as to what exactly those phenomena were, iSpace says it will take time to look at the data and did not say when they'd be able to determine the root cause of the failure. Despite iSpace now having 2 failed lunar missions, it's not giving up. They say they'll be analyzing the data to figure out what went wrong and apply those lessons to future missions like those already in the works. So a setback here, but not yet an end to iSpace's hope of making the moon more accessible, a goal that many companies and countries are racing to hit. Ethan Chen and Joyce Zen in Tokyo for TaiwanPlus.
Once a bustling port town, even more important than Taipei, Lugang on Taiwan's west coast has long faded from the spotlight. But now, a local family's effort to restore their 19th century home is helping bring new life and pride back to this historic town. Millie Hughes reports.
这个是一个 bathroom， 小时候我都在这边洗澡，好大一件，很冷。
Xu Zhengyuan is from one of Lugang's oldest and most prominent families.
祖先应该是在清朝的时候，从第26世的祖先就来到台湾。那我是第33世，所以来台湾也已经好几百年了。
Once a bustling international trading hub, this historic town on Taiwan's west coast has long faded from the spotlight. Rapid urban development passed Lugang by. No highways, no train stations. Even its once thriving port was eventually filled in. Today, much of its former glory has faded. What remains, now a rare sight in Taiwan. Centuries-old Qing dynasty architecture, like Xu Zhengyuan's ancestral family home, the Changyuan Hospital. Built in the early 19th century and expanded during Japanese colonial rule, it's part Chinese mansion, part Japanese villa, a truly rare architectural structure that was once filled with life, as both a family home and medical clinic.
小时候这个房子就是我们一群小孩子玩来玩去的，祖父祖母总共有10个内外孙，我每天在这边捉迷藏跑来跑去，楼上楼下。
But like Lugang itself, the home slowly faded from view, left untouched for more than 2 decades, quietly tended to by the family's 98-year-old matriarch. And taking care of a 200-year-old mansion was no easy task.
破掉即马就漏水吼，漏水就白蚁就来安尼，足头痛呢。
As their home fell into disrepair, the family faced a tough decision. Was it worth saving? They worried that applying for a restoration grant would leave them trapped in red tape.
那在很多亲戚朋友都有很多很不好的经验了，就是一旦排队下去，有时候排个10年、20年，不一定排得到。那房子不但不能修，又连动都不能动。
So to navigate the government paperwork, they sought help from a local restoration team.
你如果拿到政府补助，你肯定要有相对应的这样子的一些公益项目，对。就是你要有一些不管是活动啊、讲座啊、展览啊，给大家，或是把你家的这个一些历史的独特细节的部分给大家看，会让大家知道。我会觉得，就是长源医院其实有各个层面，包含我们自己刚刚看到，从建筑、从医疗史、从摄影史，还有在对于地方上的这样子的一个空间上的论述来讲，它其实都在一个很重要的位置。
Inside, the family uncovered a treasure trove. Antique medical tools, vintage furniture, hand-painted murals, and decades of family photographs taken by Xu Zhengyuan's late father, a respected photographer in Taiwan, known for his portraits of Lugang.
我那时候就想说，这些都可以拿来展览了，房子整修完之后就可以拿来展览。
So the family decided to bring the community into their home, creating a museum that contributes to Lugang's cultural revival.
写计划书的内容也要提到说，你房子修好之后要准备怎么用。所以我们在跟那个维修团队在讨论的时候，就有把这个概念写进去。
After 2 years, the funding was approved, and restoration began in 2020. Qing-era features, tiled roofs, wooden beams, hand-painted murals were meticulously recreated to meet strict grant requirements. The restoration itself is also part of the exhibit, which opens to the public in June.
大家来参观啦，来参观啦呢。
For the Xu family, restoring Changyuan Hospital wasn't just about preserving their own legacy. It was about returning something to the town they've called home for generations. By turning their family home into a community space, they are helping Lugang breathe new life into its old streets, honouring the past while meeting the needs of today. Andy Xue, Bryn Thomas and Millie Hughes for TaiwanPlus.
And thank you for watching. Here's what happened. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, we take you to Kyiv, where a piglet cafe is offering comfort to people in the war-torn city. I'm Liao. Take care and see you next time.